So today I really want to talk about the whole Gaten Mackenzie and Kenny Kunene thing. Kenny Kunene was found in the home of a murder accused who got arrested. I think his surname is Mulefe. His name might be Kito, if I'm not mistaken. None of what I'm about to say is actually scripted. I did not write anything, I did not prepare anything, but I just wanted to get this off my chest because I'm sick and tired of seeing things happen and people get very, very surprised or shocked by things that should not shock them. Basically, what I'm saying is, I am not phased about Kenny Kunene being there at that house. Do I think he's lying? Probably he's lying, escorting a journalist. It's a funny story. Escorting journalists to do interviews with a possible murder suspect whom I think has never done an interview before with any publication, TV, social media, otherwise. So he escorts the journalist to the house, and they still haven't showed us what the journalist has captured. No pictures, no article that is written, no video of the arrest. Like, I mean, if you're an upcoming journalist or you are working for alternative media, which Kenny claims that this whole thing was for his YouTube platform or blog, whatever. Hey, if I'm a journalist, I'm taking pictures, I'm taking videos, I'm tweeting, I'm going live, I'm on TikTok, I'm doing the most because this is the big break. It's breaking news. You understand? So, yeah, I'm not too sure if I buy the story. Probably I don't, just being honest. I don't buy the story. But also at the same time, what really made me want to actually talk about this is the fact that I hate the fact that people act like they're shocked. I hate the fact that people are shocked and surprised. Oh my God, how could this happen? When you guys act like Kenny Kunene is not a convicted criminal. He's literally a convicted criminal. You see, this is the problem when you're going to take people who've been in prison, not even wrongfully accused. He admitted to the crimes that he was in prison for. He acknowledges them. And if I'm not mistaken, Ken Kunene shot someone, I think a colleague of his where he worked in the school. I think I read that somewhere. I may have forgotten the exact details, but I'm pretty sure I've read that he shot a colleague of his or someone who came and spoke to him where he worked as a school teacher. You understand? So if you're going to take people like that, and then you're going to vote for them because they campaign and say things that you want to hear or society wants to hear, and then you put them in government, and then they're supposed to be leaders, they're supposed to be governors, they're supposed to be part of the executives and counselors. And then things like these happen, and then you're surprised. I just don't get why people are surprised that Ken Kunene was with someone who is accused of crimes when he himself is a criminal. Come on. Like, you cannot make this up. And this is the problem with society. Society has this problem of amnesia, because I'm not even going to say it's forgiveness. I'm not going to say it's forgiveness because I doubt it's genuine forgiveness, because forgiveness is a whole process of you showing remorse and gaining people's trust and working to get it. The reason why Kenny Kunene and Gaten were able to campaign and get votes, it's because of the most important thing and apparent thing in this country that we never talk about. The fact that if you are rich in this country, South Africa, you can get away with anything. People will forget the things that you have done. People will allow you to do more things that you shouldn't be doing. People will make excuses for you. People will shrug off very serious suspicions. Because I tell you this now, if someone who was also accused of crimes, or not even accused, someone who was convicted of crimes, starts campaigning and they want to be in office and they want to hold public office and they are not rich, the public will not give them their ear. The only reason Kunene and Kunene were able to come into politics and be successful, and by success I mean being able to gain public office, is the fact that they come from money. It's the fact that they have money. If they did not have money, nobody would take them serious. I mean, look at someone like Kabelo Kwamanda, former mayor of the city of Johannesburg. We did not know who he was before he was appointed mayor. And the only reason he was appointed mayor is because he was voted in by other political parties. So basically, the public had no say in whether he becomes a mayor or not. So he became a mayor through other parties. And I would say that that is the only reason why he became mayor. Because the public would have never voted for him. Do you know why? Because he's not rich. Because in South Africa, the moment you are rich, you are absolved of every possible criticism you could possibly have. In South Africa, when you are rich, it doesn't matter where the money comes from. As long as you are rich, people will give you what you want and you'll get away with doing a bunch of nonsense. The exact same way we're seeing now. Do you remember, they used to say Kabelo Kwamanda looks like he's not supposed to be mayor, he's not mayor material, he looks like a criminal, he looks like a common guy who sits around the corner and who's not deserving of that title of becoming a mayor, simply because of how he looks. Well, little did we know at the time that if you look into his past, there was a possible thing of him and supposedly defrauding people or whatever, a scam. But that was before we even knew of that. People, just by looking at his face, people were like, nah, this guy looks like a criminal. But on the other hand, someone like Kunene, someone like Kenny, these guys, they came through, I mean, obviously they've been in the media for more than 10 years now with the whole Sushi King thing. They were accepted by many people, many people, even politicians who are their rivals and oppositions today. They partied with them. Go Google. Those guys came out of prison. They were criminals. They had money and they moved up in the business world. They had a reality show. They were covered by papers simply because they have money. And they even campaigned on something that is a real issue, but because people are easily swayed, they gave them public office. They gave them the votes. Guys, Kunene is a minister. He is sitting in one of the highest offices of this country. Not because he's necessarily smart, not because he came up with something new, not because there's an intricate detail that he knows that everybody else does not know. No, because he voiced out a populist view and people voted for him. And because he has money. People listen to him because he has money. So I don't feel any shock. I'm not surprised. In fact, I am laughing. And I'm laughing at the public for actually believing, if they were dumb enough to believe in voting for these guys to be in public office. And this is not an attack on who they are personally. I mean, I don't know them. I'm not saying they are horrible human beings. But the principal issue here is, how do you take someone who is convicted of violent and financial crimes and you take them and you make them a minister, you make them a deputy mayor, you make them an MMC. They are in charge of billions. They are in charge of hundreds of millions. They are in charge of lives. How does that happen? Yes, someone may say our justice system is restorative or reformative, and just because you've been to prison, it does not mean you should be excommunicated from the public or society. I agree with that. I personally know people who've been to prison. Some of them have come out and they're better human beings. I know people who've committed crimes, but they do not hold public office. That's the biggest issue. They don't, and they shouldn't, because you're setting a horrible precedence. You are setting a bad example. Because listen to me in this regard. Think about a 17, 15, an 18, a 20-year-old child, girl or boy, that has to look at possible options that they have about their life and their future. If I come to a child who is 18, 20, somewhere there, and I tell them, go to school. In order for you to be successful, you need to study, you need to work, you need to learn a skill, you need to apply for a job, go play within this system, walk the legal way, to sum it up. And they're going to look at me and maybe they might listen, but also think about how many people are qualified: doctors, engineers, all sorts of things. They're qualified, they do not get jobs. But do you know what the public does? It gives criminals jobs. Criminals who've never bothered to go to school. And I'm not saying their situation was all rosy and they had the money to go to school. No, but I'm saying they made a decision to commit crimes. And then the public rewards them by giving them public office. And then they come back and they're surprised and shocked when they find a criminal in the premises and presence of another criminal. So when this young child looks at life and they're seeing unemployed graduates, unemployed good people, unemployed law-abiding citizens, what's stopping them from actually saying to themselves, I know a bunch of people who walk the legal way, who do not commit crimes, and yet they have nothing to show for it. Then on the other hand, a minister that we watch on TV who's responsible for a department is a former criminal who comes from prison.
Of a party will I be when you have such great, hard-working people wanting to join our party because of the good work? I must say, no, we don't want you. You are here for positions. Yes, people want positions. People want power. I'm in politics for power. You are too used to politicians that lie to you. I'm in politics for power. Make no mistake. I'm here for power. Unashamedly, power. That's why I'm here.
So actually, are you going to blame the child when they decide to commit a crime? Because in any case, they're going to get out one day, possibly with a parole, and then they're going to come out and possibly campaign, become a politician, and claim to know what is wrong and that they can fix it. This is the type of stupid things that I hate witnessing. But also at the same time, I've learned to laugh because people are not serious. People do not want to learn. People don't want to acknowledge their role that they play in their own demise. So if Kunene sees this or listens to this, what I have to say to him is, do your thing. Do your thing. Because it's the public that voted for his party to be where it's at. It's the public public that put him in a position where he can govern, he can run a department, he can be in charge of a budget, and potentially, allegedly, he can further the interest of lawbreakers and criminals and kingpins and syndicate leaders. All I have to say to him is, hey, phambili khuphuka. Because I'm not going to stand here and speak against him as if I did not know who he was or who he is before. You see, if he had came out as a clean guy with no record, he was on the straight and narrow, and then this happened, of course, I'd be very surprised. I'd be extremely surprised. I'd be shocked. I would be appalled, because this comes from someone who is law abiding, at least according to our knowledge, and legally they have no prior convictions. But since it's someone who has been convicted, come on. We have nobody to blame but the people who vote for them and the public. Because even if they did not get the majority, that's fine. But even if we did not want a Gayton and a Kunene to hold the types of portfolios that they lead, the public could have went out and protested until they were taken off and say, we will not have people who are convicted criminals to hold public office. It's a bad look. It's a terrible look. I don't care how much you are reformed, but you are setting a bad example in a country which such a high level of unemployment and apathy. They shouldn't even be thinking of holding public office with the type of history that they have. They shouldn't. But as I've said, because they have money, South African morals are up for sale to the highest bidder. If you have money in this country, you can do anything. People will let you do it. They'll pretend as if they don't know. They'll pretend as if they don't see. They will let you get away with murder because you have money. So with this whole Kunene thing, I don't care whether he knows the suspect that was apprehended. I don't care if they have a relationship or not. And I don't care whether he continues to hold that office that he holds, because obviously the public has clearly showed that they do not care whether someone was a criminal before, whether someone may still be a criminal or someone is generally dodgy. They don't care. Because this principle is still a matter of principle, even if he was not there, even if the scandal did not exist. But it's also a huge concern and a huge question as to why would a former criminal hold such a high rank within government? Yes, legally they can do it, but voters in a country that has such a high crime rate, such a high corruption rate, how can the ordinary South African just be quiet and be cool with that to a point where they go to their rallies and they even vote for them? And then they get surprised when things like this happen. It's very concerning. Not even concerning, it's funny to me. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, I wasn't even surprised. I laughed. It's like, oh, okay, public office. He was found with a criminal, and everyone was like, how could you? It's like, I'm a criminal, man. How? But in any case, it would be very interesting to watch the whole proceedings of this investigation that they're going to do to determine whether he knows the guy or he does not know the guy. But I will say what I saw when Kenny did the interview. Look, I'm no body language expert or anything of that nature, but he did look. He did not look like the Kenny that is always doing these interviews. He looked quite different from the other interviews. He did not come off as very confident and I know what I'm talking about. He sounded like me when I went to the principal's office. And that's how he looked. He was very nervous. But in any case, hey man, bring out the sushi. Bring out the sushi. Yeah, that's all I have. Make sure you follow, you subscribe, you comment, you like. Yeah. Oh, yes, before I even forget, guys, do you remember that? The reason why Kenny and Gayton got out of prison early, the reason why they got out of prison early is because they snitched on other criminals who had dealings basically in prison with the warders. I remember watching a documentary that goes into that, showing the corruption that happens in prison. So they committed a crime. They got convicted. And then in prison, they snitched on the warders and on fellow inmates to come out early. Then somewhere, somehow, they became millionaires, or they were millionaires before. Now they're in politics where they have access to hundreds of millions, possibly billions. They're handing out contracts, and I'm not saying they're doing it illegally, but I'm saying their job description allows them to be in a position to decide for things such as procurement. This is the track record of these people. I had to throw in Gate in there as well because, two peas in a pod, they call each other brothers. So these are the people that the public is so appalled and shocked that this thing happened with them. But yeah, like, follow, subscribe, comment, and yeah, I'm working on something else as well. Should be coming soon. Thank you for tuning in.